Hey everybody, before we get into our Mandalorian Season 2 wrap-up review, I just want to let you know about our sponsor. It's a film called Sir John A. and the Curse of the Anti-Quenched. It's about two brothers that save their city from demons by staying drunk. It stars John Dunsworth from Trailer Park Boys, Spenny from Kenny vs. Spenny, and the Diener from Fubar. Has a lot of other very funny people in it, and you can watch it on Vimeo On Demand, streaming for free right now in the States, as well as it's available on Vimeo On Demand for only $2.99. Check out cursetheantiquenched.com. Oh, we are back with our Mandalorian Season 2 coverage, covering episodes 5 through 8. I'm going to hit the 10...
Chapter 13 to 16.
I'm going to hit the 10-minute timer. What are you going to say? What? No,
it doesn't matter.
No,
just
this is your show. No, it's okay.
I was going to say, and what a half show it has turned out to be.
A half show?
Well, what a show it has turned out to be with just the last 4 episodes.
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hit the 10-minute timer now.
So what a show it...
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to how much did you cry, what'd you think of the last half of The Mandalorian?
Oh, so, I mean, in terms of crying, and we'll probably get to that, that's chapter 16, 100%. But, no, I mean, the Ahsoka episode, The Jedi, had a few gripes about it.
The Jedi!
Mostly because, my God, does he get there quick?
What do you mean?
You're like, oh, he's on a quest to get, and then next thing you know, he's on that planet already found. It's like, oh, damn, okay. This is a story episode today.
Right, I see what you're saying. They didn't want to cut to the chase, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. The only gripe I have, and of course, I completely understand why, it's her tendrils. I forget what they're called, but like her headpiece, right? Like the headpiece is shorter than it should be, according to, if you go to like the Clone Wars and then Rebels, it's
maybe
actually
as they age,
much shorter.
Her species.
No, it's actually supposed to get longer with age. The reason, apparently, like the reason they actually had longer, like a longer headpiece, but due to like stunts and stuff, they decided to just keep it short. I understand the decision. It threw me off a little bit. So like, I feel like the more Ahsoka I see, which we will see in the new show, the more I'll just get used to it, right? Like, that was the only really big gripe I had. Also, the lightsabers, they look cool, like, in cartoon, but in live action, they kind of look like, you ever play with those light bulbs?
Like,
what do you call it? Those candlescent light...
just like a tube light? Like
yeah, the tube
fluorescent
lights.
one?
Like, yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. Like, just because they flicker and stuff. So the white, to me, didn't... It kind of made it look kind of corny. Like, I get why they're white. I've seen Rebels. It just, to me, it didn't fully feel... Again, I feel like I just didn't get enough of her look to fully appreciate it. I still liked the episode. I thought it was cool. I love the whole lightsaber versus Beskar like armor, which I knew was, it could take it, but a lot of people didn't, right? Like, especially if you come in new into that, you realize at that point how freaking
strong the metal is.
Strong it is, and how like that's why it's worth so much. That's why like. You finally understand, especially if you're not fully familiar with the lore, right? Like, that armor was designed to take on Jedis back in the day,
Yeah. And I have some questions about that later down the way. Personally, I like the look of the lightsaber. I like the look of Ahsoka and what Rosario Dawson did with the character. I honestly couldn't have pictured anyone else as her. And I like how they make the Jedi this kind of like mysterious thing to be feared presence in these movies. Because like before, like the Jedi seem kind of like soft and cuddly in a way, and now they seem like these like badass Shogun warriors that like it was almost like a horror movie in the way that the Jedi was kind of like the monster in a way.
Because she shows up and just like wrecks stuff, right? Like, yeah, she's the monster attacking them, right? Like, there's a few things from the like cartoon, like the Clone Wars and stuff, like moves that she does that are very
I noticed that,
on point to that. But I guess is it a misnomer in the episode, because technically she's not a Jedi. Like,
no.
she is, but she's not. You know what I mean? Like, she never fully graduated from Jedi, and even in the show, she says, "I am no Jedi." So really, the episode should just be called "The Person That's Not a Jedi."
Jedi adjacent.
Yeah, Jedi educated.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
the
I mean,
GED of
like,
Jedi.
yeah. I mean, we can get kind of, you know, you can go get into like, you know, deep into that if you really want, but I honestly think it's fine. And
oh, absolutely. These are gripes that I still really liked the episode. It's not my favorite episode.
Really?
Well,
but it was
yeah,
my favorite up until 16. Man, 13 ended that one with Ahsoka, and I restarted it right away. I loved it that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I will say a lot of the Mando episodes, they tend to be like, oh, you know what? That's my favorite. And then you watch the next one and you're like, no, that's my favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, and a few notes. Directed by Dave Filoni.
Filoni.
Filoni. It's because we pronounce it different here.
Filioni.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's different. There's an extra I.
It's kind of, I don't know, it looked French to me.
Filoni.
Filoni?
Is that his second?
How much did he get made fun of? Filoni, baloney?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I mean, he's not being made fun now. The man is a legend.
He's a legend. Yeah, so he got to create, he created Ahsoka, so obviously he was going to be the one to write and direct that
That's
episode.
why a lot of people kind of saw that coming, right? Like, oh, that's the episode he's going to be directing? Yeah, that's probably the Ahsoka episode. And were we not wrong? We were not.
And, you know, writing the episode too, which Jon Favreau had been basically writing everything up until this point.
That's true.
And we saw a few other...
There's only special occasions that Favreau was not writing.
Yeah. So, and I mean, look, Dave Filoni is obviously a huge influence on all this sort of stuff. And then...
Absolutely.
And then what we found out sort of through some back channel stuff is that George actually has a lot of input through Dave Filoni on this, like, kind of like silent producer, silent writer, silent like partner reference that they just don't want to put his name on it because they know how much like controversy throwing up George Lucas, you know, on the title credit.
I mean, Dave Filoni is the mini George Lucas, right? He's George Lucas's Padawan, now Jedi, apparently, like pretty much, but. Like, he's the guy, so I mean, he's been on set and stuff. Lucas has been on set, so I'm completely, and that's fine. You know what? Like, that's fine. Whatever they're doing, it's working.
Yeah, just change nothing. But you know what? When are they gonna let my boy George direct an episode?
I don't think that'll ever happen. But speaking of someone I didn't think was actually directing an episode, Robert Rodriguez comes in for chapter 14.
Okay, wait. I think there's a way to tell when you're going to see guest directors like that on the show. If you watch the Chef Show, Favreau's,
yeah, I know, right?
Favreau's Netflix show, you'll notice Robert Rodriguez guest on season 2 of that. So
I did notice that.
So that's
like
Favreau's way of going to like do production meetings and make it seem like, no, we're just doing this Netflix show, and really he's just like, yeah, we're gonna shoot the show.
Which is still a very good show.
Yeah, no,
but you learn nothing about cooking.
Yeah, right. You just get hungry.
You just get hungry. Yeah.
I will. One last thing about chapter 13. Yeah. We're gonna go way over our 10 minutes on this episode. Grand Admiral Thrawn, played by Michael Biehn. Fighting Terminators, fighting Jedi, fighting Mandalorian. Is there anything this man can't do? And fighting aliens.
That's right.
He
and also he did that really bad show called Adventure Inc., which I was not a big fan of, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. If you ever feel like Indiana Jones, but with like a $10 budget, check it out.
That's something we'll have to cover. And the KFC Lifetime movie we were talking about earlier today. Moving on to chapter 14, The Tragedy, again, directed by Robert Rodriguez. Who's one of the reasons I got into filmmaking, and his book, Rebel Without a Crew.
You really enjoy Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's like, less now, but like early in my film, sort of getting into film, I loved watching all his stuff just because of his like can-do attitude towards things. This episode did a lot of things and confirmed a lot of stuff for us, right?
Oh man, did this episode deliver in terms of things? Like, you're like, okay, we got 3 episodes left and nothing really has been like done in terms of, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Like, were those dark
troopers?
Dark troopers. Where's Boba Fett? Like, all these things that we all had questions to. It all came down to this 30-minute episode,
right?
And they didn't waste a second.
They really didn't.
This was a really good episode. I think this was one of my favorites. I think it's still one. It's still one of my top favorites.
There goes our 10-minute timer. But we're gonna keep going.
The internet has called it the Boba Fett, which, like, come on, guys, give the man a break.
Fat?
Yeah, well, because when he came out, when Boba Fett comes out, right? Because he's still wearing the robes. There was a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but a lot of people were making fun of, like, oh no, Boba Fett's fat now.
Yeah, I saw Dad Boba. Like Dad Bod, but Dad Boba.
Like, give the man a break.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you going to do? He's been in a Sarlacc pit for a minute.
Exactly, okay? And plus...
Apparently he ate his way out of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, do we know how he got out?
I think we're going to find that out in the Book of Boba, which we can talk about later as well. How excited were you when, like, the Slave One shows up? And you see flying through the air.
Slave One comes up, and then, you know, he's asking for the armor. So you're like, okay. And then when he finally takes... Dude, Boba Fett has never been so badass until those, 30 minutes of a Mandalorian show in 2020 has pretty much made Boba Fett badass compared to the years that we've seen Boba Fett do nothing. Like, technically, Boba Fett was only popular because he looked cool. He actually never really did anything cool. And then his death was awful.
Yeah.
We all remember that, like, scream, and it's not the Wilhelm scream, but it's a very similar scream.
It was, yeah. And coming, sadly enough, coming right on the heels of Jeremy Bulloch, the original actor to play Boba in the suit in the original trilogy too. So it was sort of like I don't obviously think they planned this, but just a nice send off for that actor who I know, like, I think I've got something signed by him.
The last episode that aired is the day that he died, I think, too.
True, yeah. Which
crazy.
It's obviously sad, but like I've heard a lot of stories about that guy just being like super cool at Comic-Cons, and he's not just Boba Fett. I think he's like dressed as a stormtrooper a few times in the original trilogy. Like when Leia's shouting at Luke, like, Luke, it's a trap in Empire. That's him pulling on Leia in a stormtrooper outfit. So comes full circle. But yeah, that was a cool episode. The return of Boba, and it was like a fun episode.
Dark troopers come in, take Grogu, and it's like, oh shit! And his Razor Crest, man, that freaking ship, kaboom!
A lot of stuff happens in that episode, right?
Huge episode.
That we didn't talk about that either.
No, I know. That's the other thing. Like, it's a 30-minute episode, and I'm like, oh no, 30 minutes. Like, where are we gonna go? And so much happened, and I find like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have a, like, at first you're like, oh man, these episodes are way too short, but they managed to cram so much in one.
They do, yeah. And it's just,
anyway, sorry,
it's a budget. Well, we forgot to talk about Grogu. That Baby Yoda, aka the child, has a name.
Wait, was his name given? That's right. It was given on the Ahsoka episode, the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grogu.
And
which,
once
of course,
again,
people will still call.
It was spoiled. It was spoiled before that.
Was it?
Yeah, toys. That's always the way to find out the names and things. They spoiled it on a toy. But yeah, Grogu. I wasn't mad at it. I thought it was fine. Everyone's gonna call him the child and Baby Yoda forever, but
everyone's just gonna call him Baby Yoda. No one's saying the child. No one ever said the child.
No. So yeah, that was pretty solid episode, and it's one of those things. Again, like you were saying, just like as strong as the Ahsoka episode was, they fucking hit you hard, even harder with Boba Fett right after that.
Like that one is just boom.
Following that up, they tease you right at the end with the Miggs Mayfield. Gonna bust him out of prison right at the end of this one.
Yes,
getting
Mayfield,
getting Bill Burr back on the show.
Which I love Bill Burr.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, Mayfield.
I
was surprised to see him the first time.
His SNL thing?
I didn't know.
No, he talks about Rick Moranis being punched in the face in New York and saying how New York's back.
I never saw that.
No. Anyways, it's
yeah, this was a good episode, a fun episode in terms of felt very heist like. Apparently, though, it's sort of based on an older film, I believe, about like these guys that are pay so much to the classic The Wages of Fear.
Okay.
Which is a vehicle loaded with unstable explosive. Like apparently that's part of an old movie from the 50s.
And
but man, it was weird to see Mando in a trooper uniform, and you're just like, you know, things are starting for this heretic cultist. He's starting to kind of understand of, you know, maybe this is the way. It also depends on the situation you're in.
Well, yeah,
so,
and then Bill Burr's dialogue in this too, like he's like, you know.
Oh man, that scene at the end where he's discussing with his old officer,
Richard
Brake.
Brake.
Like it almost feels like something out of Inglourious Bastards kind of scene, right? Like it just, I will say, like you're like, no, he's not gonna do it, is he? No, he wouldn't, would he? And then boom, you're like, oh shit, they went there.
Yeah,
like damn.
I loved it too, and then Richard Brake, he's like a legend. He's in so many films, and the former guest of the show talked about having him in his film, the Dare episode, if you guys want to go back and listen to that one. But yeah, I love that. Like, I love the moment where Bill Burr's character is like, you know, everyone's got their lines and everyone's got something that's going to happen where you'll cross those lines. And later in the episode, right, we see what that is, right, where he shoots that guy, and then we see what it is for the Mandalorian, where he does take off his helmet.
He takes off his helmet, and it was like, that was a big moment. At first, I was like, I don't know about this. But then you're like, no, but it makes sense. Like, as long as it doesn't become like a full-blown constant, like, keep your helmet on. But, like, it does, it felt refreshing going like, man, it's nice to see your face, Pedro. Like, you know?
Yeah. And I did like the Bill Burr moment where he's just like, I didn't see anything.
I didn't see your face.
Yeah, I thought it was
pretty.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great episode. Just it was like a good action-packed episode, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun one.
It was important, but at the same time, it didn't feel too story related either. Like in terms of like, it was back to what we love about Mandalorian. Not everybody likes that, but just a fun adventure.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know? And then we come up to, of course, the last chapter, chapter 16, The Rescue, at a 9.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Wow. Who's the asshole?
Hell of an episode. A lot of people came in with this episode, directed by Peyton Reed, the guy that did Ant-Man, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy that did Ant-Man, Yes Man, and Bring It On. But that's okay.
Man, so first off, did you have any inkling or thought that you might get what you got at the end?
I wasn't expecting Luke.
No?
Honestly, I was a lot closer to thinking it would be Ezra Bridger than it would be Luke.
That's what a
And
lot
I
of
don't know
people
why.
online speculated.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I mean, it's as soon as you see that X-wing fight, you're like, okay, it has to be Luke. But I mean, it could be anybody. Still could be anybody.
Yeah.
Then you see the robes, you're
It
like,
could be Dave Filoni.
and then you see the lightsaber, you're like, and then the whole time with like when he's like fighting, I'm like, look for the hand. Okay, no, there's he's wearing a glove. That's Luke. It has to be Luke. It's like 99%. It can't be anybody else but Luke.
I saw the X-wing and I was like, it confirmed it's Luke. I had a hunch for one, because I'll say this: Favreau managed to keep Baby Yoda like a secret up until whenever you saw that episode.
Yeah.
And then when season 2 got the rumors and it was like, oh, we got Boba Fett, we got fucking.
Wasn't really rumors though. It was like they really confirmed those.
Yeah,
they were like, we got Boba Fett, we got Ahsoka.
Well, it was like we got Ahsoka and all this. I was like, oh,
we got a T-Rex.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we're letting everything out of the bag. But I'm like, I bet you Favreau's got one ace up his sleeve, and I bet you Mark Hamill's going to show up at the end. It's what's going to make the most sense.
And ba-boom, did he ever.
It was fucking awesome.
Maybe it's definitely one of the better whatever you want to call it, CG faces out there, like compared to Rogue One, where it's a little iffy and a little bit more
I wasn't mad at it.
Valley.
I wasn't mad. I was like, you know what? You gave me something.
No, but this one was better. This one, it's not perfect, but it's getting there.
Yeah. And honestly, man, like, they gave Luke a better send-off than they could have ever given him cinematically, like, you know, in The Last Jedi. Like that, like him on a rock fading away into the sun, like, come on. The worst send-off for...
I mean, this is like what they did for, like, Vader in Rogue One, right? Like, just like, you see how badass a Jedi is? See how badass the Sith is? Like, here's the scene of just a Jedi or a Sith just wrecking shit.
Yeah.
Like
Carnage.
Rogue One, that was probably one of the best scenes. And then in this, it's just like, it's like no contest, right? Like Mando goes against one of these dark troopers and almost kicks his ass. I mean, it punches him punches his head through the damn wall, right? Like,
yeah.
I love that, where it's just like, obviously the armor's not going to give, but man, holy shit.
Yeah, you're gonna get some
but
CTE.
Like Jedi comes in no problem, and you can even see Moff's like reaction going like, "Uh-oh." Like as soon as he knows who was coming in, right? Like he knew, and Gideon's just kind of freaking out there too.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I love everything about him showing up and fighting. I was wondering though, because like, are the Dark Troopers made of the Beskar? I thought that was what they were. The whole reason why the Empire had all this Beskar to begin with. And
I don't think so. Like the reason they have Beskar, I think, is it's during the Great Purge, but they never explain as to what they needed it for.
Right. Because like, anyways, like it just seemed like I thought like for a moment I was like, can he cut through it like at all? But I guess
I never saw it. Like someone did mention before, one of the plot point that may have been a little weak is Boba Fett leaving so early. I mean, we now know why he left so early is to not conflict with Luke.
Yeah.
Because those two kind of have history. I didn't see it, like, at the time. Like, at first I'm like, oh, okay, he's heading off. Like, he'll come back, I guess, to pick him up. And then, like, so much shit was happening anyways that you kind of just forget that Boba Fett was even in there. It was just too much. I'm excited to see where season 3 is going to come in, and I will say, man, those last minutes really brought a tear to my eye. Like, takes the mask off, and like,
they hit you
right
like 3 times, right? They show you Luke, and he looks like Luke right at the end of Jedi. That young Luke, Jedi in his prime, just a master. Then they give you that moment, like where he takes his helmet off, right, and then, to like hit you even harder, R2 shows up. And you know what, like, and that's like where Baby Yoda's sort of unsure. And we also know that like droids and Jedi kind of, at least R2 and Jedi have some type of communication abilities, right, with the Force, so they might understand each other. There is sort of online, sort of like, I don't know, rumors or like people like speculating that R2 may have helped save Baby Yoda out of the Jedi Temple, right? So
I feel like
he might
there's
have
going to be some
known
more
him.
we're going to discover with season 3. At first, I was kind of worried because of the after credits Book of Boba. I'm like, is that season 3 or is that like a whole new show? Right? And I'm like, I hope it's a whole new show because I'd rather a whole new show than it take over season 3.
Yeah, they got like 11
I feel
shows,
robbed
I
if
think.
it is, right? Like, you can't end it like this.
Don't do me like this.
But yeah, because I mean, you could end it, but like, it's not ready yet. You know, there's still the saber thing. Which, come on, Bo-Katan, like, relax. Like, I love that. Just like, it's like, no, just take it. I don't want it. Like, no, you are the new ruler of Mandalore. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah. I can see how that'll be maybe a focus of the next, the next season. Like one of the angles of it, maybe him going back to his roots and in Mandalore and all that. I can see us maybe not seeing much of Baby Yoda anymore. I can see that. Like,
I think it might be 1 or 2 episodes like geared towards Baby Yoda, maybe near the end. But yeah, I don't think so either. And then there's a lot of speculations of, well, if Luke's taking care of Baby Yoda, Grogu, what happens with the Kylo Ren thing? Does Kylo Ren kill Baby Yoda at one point? Like, all these crazy speculations.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say Dave Filoni has done a good job of sometimes making the crappier Star Wars movies better through TV media. So let's see what he does. Let's see what him and Jon Favreau have in store. And I think they're executive producing like all the new shows too. So
yeah, if they're like the guides that
if they're like the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe, like I'm okay with that. At least Dave Filoni, right? Like
yeah. Because look, here's the thing about the feature films that we've got recently, that they're not made by fans. Like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are legit fans. This is how much that they're fans. Like, to the point that they give Bib Fortuna his staff that he had as an action figure at the end in that Book of Boba thing. And that's the kind of detail that, fanboys
the amount
know.
of detail. Yeah, I know the amount of details and the amount of things they confirm that are just straight up taken from the old Legends books and stuff, like, is insane. Like, I'm pretty sure Dark Troopers come from an old video game. So
yeah,
they're grabbing from like everything and anything, and it's done so well, and it's not done in just like, oh, look at this Easter egg, or oh, look at this just like what's the word I'm looking for? Fan service. Like it is fan service, yes, but it's actually good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not
like it's
just
done
like,
in a way where and especially this show has such a old like original trilogy vibe.
Right, it does. To the point where I was upset that it didn't do like the circle fade and say Star Wars and be like give
it time.
Or like when Luke's coming in and it didn't have his like Luke theme when he's like fighting on the
I would
little
just give it away,
sand crawler
even though
thing.
like most people would just already know that that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
But yeah, look, I'm excited for all this new Star Wars that we're getting. I think it's better suited in this type of long form content. And I'm always been Team George, and George originally wanted it to be like this, but they just couldn't afford it at the time, right? George's original plan was to have like 6 movies for like the original trilogy or something like that, right?
I mean, George talks a big game too, so like Star Wars wouldn't be everywhere it is now if it was just George.
No,
let's agree to disagree. No,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like if it wasn't for the help of his wife and the crew, his friends, like what's his name? The guy that directed Scarface, blanking on his name. Anyways, like the group of friends like Spielberg, and it was De Palma, and like if it wasn't for the backing and the friends and the family and the wife that he had at the time, Star Wars would be a completely different creature.
Totally, but
there's a
it's
lot of
still,
influence.
like,
So, I mean, I'm
thing.
still saying yes, it is still George's baby, but he has had help over the years.
Yeah, but it's like
And,
a collaborative medium, and if you didn't have like the writers that they had at the time and all that, I'm not taking away anything from anything they did, but
No.
yeah, I think it's better suited for this type of world, like for
I mean, the times that we are now living in terms of TV shows have pretty much become like miniseries, like a long movie in terms of like, right? It's just more world building, and it's film quality type budgets nowadays.
yeah.
It's perfect for Star Wars. It's perfect for Marvel. It's perfect for those long world building
Sagas.
Exactly. It's almost perfect for it, and it was just a matter of time. I mean, Dave Filoni's been doing it in the cartoon world and animation world for a bit, so it was only a matter of time. And I love that this was essentially the trial run, right? Like they're like, well, let's see if anybody likes it, and of course, people ate it up. So I was not expecting that much content coming now, like from then on, right? Like as soon as they announced the Star Wars and the Marvel, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
They really
I think
tripled down on everything.
Well, I think they looked at their cinematics stuff, like Mulan made nothing, and they're like, whatever we
It's
were
all
going
in
to put
TV
into
show right now, right? It's all TV show, and people are eating it up because it's good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think they were looking at how much money they're making from Mulan, and then all the other whatever movies they might have had slated for the next year to start production. They're like, you know what? Disney Plus is our moneymaker. We're probably not going to be able to open our parks to full capacity like we want to, and be able to put out giant tentpole movies.
Disney's
like,
we're not going to make money with TV shows, so let's pay a lot of money to just make TV shows instead of movies.
And then what?
It'll probably work.
If they tell you in a year, once all these shows are out, that Disney Plus costs $4 or $5 more, people are going to pay.
It's still cheaper than Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix is what, $20 now?
Roughly, yeah.
So,
and it has no Star Wars, so.
I know. Not worth it. No Star Wars. Get out of here.
And they know
also,
they have
two new movies coming out, right? An untitled Taika Waititi Star Wars film, which, I mean, I'll be front row and center. I mean, COVID hopefully is done by then, hopefully.
Yeah.
And,
get your vaccine.
and a Rogue Squadron. Like, hell yeah! It's about damn time.
Finally. Although I wish I would rather see Taika Waititi make 10 episodes of his show, and I would rather see 10 episodes of a Rogue Squadron movie. I mean,
sure. But as long as we get the content, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no, I'll be happy with it no matter what.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Like, obviously it'd be better in terms of TV show. But I'm still cool with it. Movie or not, like...
Always happy for more Star Wars, even if
exactly,
I'm complaining.
even when it's shit.
You know what else? I'll leave this on this last point. I'll say this. My sister and I were talking about this. It's nice to not complain and hate Star Wars, and or fight about it, and back and forth. Yeah. And
there still is that hate, and sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like Mandalorian, or oh, I like the sequels. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but sometimes it does feel like just baiting in terms of just saying it for that reason, just to be cool or to be edgy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. Like, honestly, Star Wars has some of the most toxic fan base because
100%. However, some of it's
we love the original trilogy. We hate the prequels, but not anymore. And we hate the sequels, but it's kind of growing on us. And it's bad and it's good, and like people are shitting on one thing and loving another thing, and if you like Jar Jar Binks, you're garbage. Like, Star Wars is the reason why people almost try to kill themselves. Like, it's not a good fandom.
No.
Hopefully, with all this content and all of this, just because we now have more, right? It's a little bit more spread out, that maybe it might die down.
Yeah.
Probably not, but you never know.
Yeah, there'll be different camps and different versions of stuff.
Oversaturate the market with Star Wars. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, me too. Well, we hope you like our extended Mandalorian review. Let us know what you think on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. In the comments on YouTube if you so wish. We really appreciate you checking out the show, and we'll be back soon with another fun episode.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Lost Commentary, on Instagram at Raiders of the Lost Commentary, and like us on Facebook.
I'll be back.